Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com. Visit iRacing.com.
We're 3 weeks in. We've seen 3 different tracks, and here tonight we're going to see a 4th one. It's short track style racing in the Mojave Desert, live from the virtual Phoenix Raceway in the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series presented by Racing Revolution. It's the KLD Heavy Truck Repair 150. I almost got through that flawlessly. Alex joining me in the booth here all season long. I tell you what won't be flawless is this dogleg cut right out of the gate. This next-gen car does not like the transition at this racetrack. We've seen it time and time again here on V-Speed. It is a handful to keep this car under control at Phoenix.
It absolutely is, but that's not going to stop drivers from going down there to try to make up positions on the restart. No doubt in my mind you'll see cars fanning 4, 5, maybe even 6 wide through that area before they all have to condense back down into turn 1, because you do get to gain a little bit of time there if you can make that work on the restarts. And everyone thinks they can, but the dogleg occasionally is going to throw someone for a loop here tonight, and you just want to hope that it's not you.
There's a look at Phoenix Raceway. Opened January 1st, 1964. It has seen 3 reconfigurations, and that most recent one where they relocated the start-finish line out of the old turns 1 and 2, now 3 and 4. And that dogleg used to be a part of the racetrack that you didn't want to cut. There used to be grass down there, but since the extension of the pavement, they've paved it all the way down to the inside wall for that pit exit, extended pit road all the way to that front straightaway. And what used to be 3 and 4 is now 1 and 2. That backstretch, still the same exit, still the same layout of the track for the most part. And I would probably consider this a miniature Pocono. People always call me crazy when I say that, Alex, but that's the approach. You have 3 different corners. You're not going to be perfect in all of them, and you just have to mitigate the damage in the parts of the track that you're worse off.
And honestly, I don't actually, now that you mention, I don't even think that's that bad a comparison through the corners. To your point of them being all separately sort of set up, but also, I mean, they are relatively low banked corners that you really have to be patient getting back onto the throttle to. Very similar to turns 1 and 3 at Pocono, but that's this entire racetrack. And it's going to be quite the balancing act tonight of, you want to get the hammer down, you want to make up as much time as possible when you can, but it is super easy to lose the back end of these cars if you just get a little over anxious trying to get off the corner here.
Quick look at the points after Coda. Jeremy Burns with his first win of the season coming in week number 3. No surprise there that he led, I believe, almost every single lap of that race, and just a dominant performance for Burns. I think the closest driver to him actually had a connection issue and ended up having to reconnect. We had Trevor Keith, who finished second in that race, now third in points. It's starting to tighten up a little bit here in the top 3, but overall, you talk about Jeremy Burns, what he's able to do. He does well at tracks that a lot of drivers don't enjoy going to.
Yeah, he really does. He has that sort of skill, and I think that was the case last week with Coda. It'll be very interesting tonight to see who gets the advantage here, because this is a track where if it goes green, you really got to be mindful of your tire wear, but it also has a tendency to really stack people up on these restarts, and you get a couple of them back to back to back.
Race analysis on your screen. 156 laps here today, 45-mile-per-hour pit road speed limit. 5 tire sets available with 2 green-white checkers. Stage lap at lap 30. And of course, we're on that iRacing fixed setup. So with that, now let's take you trackside, get that pole award up on your screen. Starting on the pole here today. Well, this is a little bit surprising because this is a little bit more of an evenly matched racetrack, but it's Jeremy Burns putting up top tier lap time, somewhere in the 27s. We'll get the official word on that, but congratulations to Jeremy Burns on the Coastal Financial Pole Award. Our mission at Coastal Financial is to provide comprehensive financial planning solutions tailored to each individual's unique needs and goals with the aim of empowering our clients to make informed financial decisions and achieve their financial potential. You can find us at coastalfinancial.com or on Facebook at Coastal Financial. With that, though, we're a little bit behind here on our grid, so we're just going to take you trackside right now. We will run through that grid as quickly as possible. But we're about to go green flag racing from Phoenix Raceway, live here on V-Speed, Chapman Cup Series, down and away.
That was a strong opening lap for Jeremy Burns, taking control here from the point. As you saw the grid of 38 cars roll on by, and just as we finish the grid, the yellow's out, a absolute junkyard here going into turn 1. 5-6 cars around. Kevin Orlando Jr., Kyle Stewart, Morgan Cook, and more, all in the mix here on the lap 2 caution.
So we'll back this up on our V-Speed instant replay. And we didn't back it up far enough, so let's go back a little bit further. And it's probably something to do with cutting this trial. Yep. Morgan
Oh,
Cook got
something
sideways
happened
there.
with 51, yeah. He was already backwards when Orlando Jr. and Sirkovich get up to him.
Yep.
Now the car just bottomed out, getting off the racing line. Spins around, collects the 5 to 27. The 11's in there. A little bit of damage maybe as well for that lime green car. That was it might have been Al Likens. Or sorry, that would have been John Fike in 65. That got a late piece of that. Yeah, Forget. And Likens hits the back end, or Fike just gets the tail end of that there, I believe. Looks like Justice Murphy also gets caught up in it a little bit, but yeah, big time damage here early on in the race.
So we talked about it in pre-race, how difficult it is to get on and off that transition, and right there, Morgan Cook hits it a little bit shallow. The bottom of the car bottoms out. And just like that, we have our first caution of the day. Jeremy Burns, Rob Rader, the 4-time champion, just behind your points leader. To start this thing off, some laps led now for Jeremy Burns, Travis Gilbert. Remember, in the truck series, a little bit of bad blood between the 53 and the 22, so I'm interested to see if we're going to pick up where we left off in the truck series, where those guys haven't really reconnected. They haven't reconvened and rekindled that relationship, so I'm waiting to see what happens here in the Desert Heat.
And this is not really a track that strikes me as a place where you rebuild friendships too well. Phoenix, not really known for, incredibly high quality racecraft. It's much more in this particular reconfiguration, going out there and making something happen. As you see the field hitting the choose cone here. And the choose cone, I think, is more critical at Phoenix than just about any other racetrack that we're going to go to this season, because it's that choice of, do you want to give yourself the ability to get down onto the dog leg on the restart, or do you want to stay up high and on that racing line? Because you can't guarantee, if you're the car on the high side, that the person below you will take the dog leg, because if they don't, you're going to wipe each other both out if you try going down there. A huge philosophical difference there on the outside and inside lanes, more so than just about any other track.
Absolutely is, and we've seen it, tracks like Las Vegas where they cut the tri-oval as well, where drivers won't go down there, and it causes a stack up where drivers aren't aware that someone did cut it and they end up 3 wide going into the corner. But sometimes it's just a matter of preference and where you're comfortable. You know how guys take their line. We'll see how they get used to each other as the green flag comes back out here from Phoenix.
A lot of takers down onto the dog leg that time. Rader giving a bit of a shot to Burns as they all cycle in to get into that double wide. As you see, going through 1 and 2. Looks like everyone got through the corner cleanly that time around, but 2 and 3 wide, deeper in the field.
Into the middle, that's Nick Alves. In the 24 in between Devin Hutchins. They'll move to the inside of Parker Johnston. They're still 3 wide deeper in the field. Here's 4 wide and trouble. There's the 57
Oh, big
round.
wreck. Dakota Floyd sideways. Looks like he's the only person who's going to be fully around, but there was a lot of smoke that got kicked up there.
And I'm going to guess and take a gamble here that it was something to do with that. No, it was actually contact between him and Alves gets a piece of it. It was the 86, I believe, or not the 86. Let's back this up. 66.
See Lynn's on the outside there at Dakota Floyd. And yeah, that was exactly what we were talking about just before the restart, but you saw it happen there under green flag conditions. The car on the bottom elected to stay on the racing line. The car up high was going to go down to the apex of the racing line, assuming the car below him was going to take the dog leg, and they meet in the middle, and Dakota Floyd going for a ride because of it.
Nick Alves nowhere to go. We'll go on board with the 24 car. Tonight's sponsor, KLD Truck Repair, nowhere to go here. Gets into the 45. Tyler Harrison. Minimal damage there on the KLD 24. Looks like just left front. Probably a minute or two of repair. we go back to our live shot. There's not a lot of time to repair your car here, and with the field being this big, if you get cycled back in the tail end of this field, you probably get about 20 seconds max to hit your stall and get everything repaired, and then you're coming right back out on the racetrack to beat this base car.
Yeah, and it's also so tricky with the entrance of pit road being all the way back at the exit of turn 2. This really throws off, you spend so much time physically just driving pit road compared to other racetracks that you don't have as much time to try to re-loop and get back caught up to the field after the fact. It's really, once you find yourself behind the 8-ball here at Phoenix, it is really tough to unearth yourself from that hole.
Nick Alves still in his pit stall. Here comes the pace car. He will end up a lap down. There goes the pace car now past the start-finish line. That's going to close pit road exit, so the 24 just going to stay committed to this. And not a bad call. I think you stay down here as long as you can. Just get that damage repaired. The likelihood of us seeing another caution here in the first stage, pretty high.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just the nature of the beast here at Phoenix, especially with the amount of cars that already not taken too keenly to the dog leg, either through mechanical issue or human error.
So we will rack them back up for the third time here today at Phoenix Raceway. 38 cars still on the racetrack. Christopher Berger, back here trying to get some damage repaired. He'll go 2 laps down. Nick Alves going to lose another lap. But here's your top 4 with Burns, Gilbert, Rader, and James Loveland. They've remained the same here in the top 4. There's TK in the background. He's worked up a couple positions to 5th. We're going to go an extended lap here. We were doubled up. We're going to extend the caution. And one more time around here from Phoenix before we go back green flag racing. This will dwindle us down to 19 laps to go in the stage. Remember, stage lap at lap 30. We looked at our points. Stage wins, they've been important. They're going to be important. Alex, you know how last season went. We covered it all season long from pretty much week 6 all the way to the end at week 36. Yeah. It all came down to stage wins for that reset.
It really was. It was the most critical part. I mean, obviously, it was not even necessarily stage wins, but missing out on stage wins that should have been in your hands was the theme for several drivers in the postseason last year. It cost several drivers a chance to race for a championship at the fall Phoenix race. So all the more critical you try to capitalize on moments like this when you have the opportunity to do so. And the folks up front who have stayed up front since the drop of the green flag here today in prime position to do just that.
Green flag back underway at Phoenix. Jeremy Burns leads him into turn 1. Here we go. Across that tri-oval dog leg. Everyone makes it through this time. And every restart that we've seen, Rob Rader has pinned his front bumper to the back of the 9 of Burns.
And we've seen it the last time. We'll see it this time around as well. Rader, though, does not try to pounce going into turn 3. We'll both run that apron. Front couple cars all staying down low. First taker up high, I believe, would have been Loveland in the 0-2. But Burns and Rader going off through more cars sideways. Oh, heavy contact into the wall. Justin Ritchie and Moore into the fence. Devin Hudgens, Michael Bennett amongst them. And some late contact there maybe for Tyler Harrison.
Right rear toe link is popped on that machine. He's going to try to drag it back to pit road. Gonna try to get it going. And it's maybe, just maybe, we'll see these guys stop cutting that tri-oval. That is where this is started every single time. This car just does not like that transition.
It certainly does not, and it really is difficult to hit that area sustainably lap after lap and not get yourself out of sorts. So we'll take a look here. Coming off the exit of turn 4, Loveland down onto the tri-oval. Gets a little checked up, it looks like. And that you see the tire, or you see the brakes lock up a little bit, and that kind of skews everything behind it.
Yeah, he actually had saved that car, but he was so off the pace once he came back off that transition. The cars that cut behind him, and I think it was the 55 Cheetos machine. Have to wait and see.
Richie just had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of cars caught up in that one. Michael Call in it as well. Kyle Diaz, who I don't think I caught the first look at it. Well, I'll be on board here with the 89 of Michael Call, and you'll see all this kind of unfold directly in front of him. And tries getting down and thought he was going to be out of the way enough until the 26 gets knocked into him. It's a tough break here. It's been a tough bit of sledding here in the opening 15 laps. 3 cautions all in the same quarter of the racetrack.
And we are hitting that choose cone again. These drivers might extend this caution. We'll have to wait and see exactly how this plays out. But Daniel Holloway off the racetrack now in the 21 machine. Remember, there are no fast repairs in this series. We're halfway through the stage, and I don't think we've ran more than 1 lap under green here.
Yeah, I think the record might be 2 or a lap and a half. It's not been much. It has really been tough to get going, and I think we've seen it happen now 2 of the 3 times where a car will try to hit the dog leg once you hit the middle of that corner part of the dog leg, and that's simply too late to get down there. The drop is too significant. It completely upsets the balance of the car, and we've seen a couple cars get really loose in that area. If you get down to the dog leg around the start-finish line, it's fine. Beyond that, though, is where it starts getting really hairy.
Green flag back underway. Can we remain on the green flag for the second half of this stage 1? On board with Jeremy Burns, and contact into the entry of 1 and 2. They sort it out. There's the drive off of the corner. It's got to be frustrating for Rob Rader. It looks like he's a little bit quicker through some of the exits of these corners, but he hasn't had the opportunity to do anything with it.
Yeah, right now he's being smart and not trying to force something here in the early going, but it does seem like if he's able to get some clean air on the front of that car, he is going to set sail. So Burns is going to have to try to find something here to equal out that pace a little bit, because the 53 looks hungry to take that lead away.
We'll look to the inside here into 3 and 4. 53 car peaks for the lead. Lap 18, he knows he needs to get it now. He can't get the drive off. 9 defends well. They'll cut the dog leg down to the bottom. 53 Raider back behind the 9.
You see, once again to the inside, Raider going to try to get a run off of turn 2. However, Burns able to get all the way up to the fence, extend that exit just a little bit more. Wow, really, really sharp lunge, though, from the 53. Nearly took it on quarter entry. He will clear the 9. We got a new leader here at Phoenix going on to lap 20.
Just behind that, the 22 of Travis Gilbert. He's working his way closer to this lead. He'll peek to the inside, gets into the back of the 9. Travis Gilbert trying to go for second position. There's Trevor Keith now up 4 spots, and Grant Thorpe, who had great success last week at Talladega, and just in the truck series, rather, on Monday. Trying to carry that momentum here to the Cup Series. Trevor Erhardt, also a decent finish in that one. Drives the 99 over there. He's in the 41 Black Rifle Coffee Machine. Just outside the top 5. Look back at the rest of this field, though. They still haven't quite sorted things out. There's 3 wide back here, just behind Dakota Floyd.
Yeah, these are a lot of the cars who got caught up in some early carnage. They're trying to work their way back to the front. Little fenders out action there between the 12 of Justice Murphy and the 14 of Michael Bennett. They almost found each other there going through the dog leg. Murphy will take that spot away, though.
He's on board with Jackson McGeorge. This is 29th position. There's Morgan Cook in the background. Remember, he was part of the first caution across that tri-oval. Rob Rader starts to pull out the lead to about 0.3 of a second as they come into 1 and 2. A little bit lower, riding that yellow line. Burns a little higher. This car is, oh, we have a caution. 41's around.
And he was running up inside the top 10. I believe he was running 6th at the time. And this one, though, on the exit of 1 and 2, so something different here from what we've seen through the opening couple cautions. We'll have to take a look here at the V-Speed instant replay, and we'll find out what happened to Trevor Erhardt.
Locks up the front tires, it looks like. Just slides in, keeps sliding, what a drift, and there it is.
These next-gen cars are some of the hardest to catch from an overcorrection. And it looked like Erhardt was going to save it, but then the moment that car snapped around, it was over for the 41. You see how much he drifted through the corner, but the moment it got traction, it just shoots up the track into that outside wall.
And the downshift upsetting the suspension on this car. You drift and you drift and you drift, and there it is. It's going to correct itself suddenly. That independent suspension in the rear end of this car is kind of relaxed until it isn't. Once the weight shifts over, it's all at one time. It's been difficult. That's part of the reason this dogleg transition is so harsh, is because each portion and corner of this car is independent, and when it transitions onto that part of the track, it bottoms out so hard that you don't really get a lot of feedback until it's too late.
Yeah, that was absolutely the case there. Just a case of, you know, too late to find out that it was upset until it was upset beyond saving.
While we have a moment here, we're going to come up on the choose cone. Let's see if we can find Rob Rader, bring him into the booth. 53 car. Looks like he's going to have a real shot at winning this stage.
Here, let's move him on in here.
Rob Rader, Bradley Cooper, Alex Gagnon in the V-Speed booth. You got a copy?
I got you, boys.
Well, it's finally able to get that green flag run and get around the 9. It looks like he had better speed as we hit the choose cone. Gonna lock things up. We got a short little sprint here for the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jeremy's a little quicker than me on the long run, just because my driving style is attack a little bit more early. So it'll be interesting to see if we get a longer green flag run. I think he's going to come back to me, and we'll probably fight it out. But yeah, so far so good. No complaints. Hopefully we can get some more green flag racing in for the people watching, though.
Roger that. Well, we appreciate you coming up here in the booth as we get set to go back green. Good luck here on stage 1.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Rob Rader in the number 53. He will be the command car for this restart. This is our 5th restart of the day. 1 lead change, and you're looking at it right here with the 53. Has the 22 of Travis Gilbert to the outside. Into the Geico restart zone we go. This will do it. If a caution comes out, it will be the stage.
Nice little launch there from Rader. Got some separation from Burns going into 1. The 9 not going to have an opportunity to try to get to his back bumper. Here comes Trevor Keith to the inside of Travis Gilbert into a 3 wide action. Almost 4 for a second further on back. Everybody going for it here, trying to get the stage points.
Yeah, I saw Trevor Keith with an excellent launch on that restart. Wasn't able to clear the 22 of Gilbert through 1 and 2. And then we go out of 3 and 4. He gives up the spot. He's going to have to go back and try it again, but that 3 wide continues back here. You have the 19 of Berube in the middle, the 48 of Johnston. This is for the top 10. This right here, with 2 laps to go, is for playoff points. You got to go for it here.
Trying to get that spot as they make their way off in turn 4. Michael Reed's got it. Parker Johnson's trying to get it. He's not alone as Alex Forget right on his back bumper as well. Oh, contact Robinson and Reed. Robinson up into the fence. He takes out Forget, and that is a caution. That's going to do it for the stage, and everybody just piles in to the 11 there and 1 and 2.
And that will give it to Rob Rader. He was about to take the white flag for stage 1. The 53 takes it just a lap shy of where it would have been. Top 10 on the left-hand side of your screen, with Rader, Burns, Gilbert, Keith, Loveland. Then you have Thorpe, Gilbert, Lenz, Breed, and Johnston. It's Carter Lenz last week that I think had a really good shot. He put in a lot of time at COTA. And an unfortunate series of events with his internet completely cutting out. The whole region went down for him. Good to see him back on the track this week, try to make up for that. We do have 2 drop weeks here as well, so that is a factor to talk about later on in this season. We'll calculate all of those in. But congratulations to Rob Rader on getting stage number 1. But here come pit stops on lap 30.
And this is likely to be a 4-tire stop and full tank of fuel for basically everybody. No real tactical advantage this early in the race, I think, to taking 2 tires. The track position not going to be very sustainable, I don't think. So, but as I said, looks like Travis Gilbert may have considered that exact strategy.
Yes,
that
he
was
did.
a really fast stop for the 22.
So you'll see them coming out of pit road. Your stage winner will fall back here a bit. We had some drivers that short pitted there, and Grant Turner will be the command car for this restart. Don't go anywhere, though. We still have our second stage of this event, the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series, live from Phoenix. It's the KLD Heavy Truck Repair 150. More coverage right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today.
Welcome back here to Phoenix. Stage number 2 underway. Rob Rader got stage number 1, but here goes Grant the Toes Turner on the restart. And they're fanning out 3 wide in the background.
Little 2x2 action as they work their way through the corner here. Caleb on the inside of Travis Gilbert, right there, the battle for 12th. See Trevor Keith just up ahead as well, trying to work his way through down on the apron. Things getting really stacked up there with Bennett and Burns.
Wow.
Boy, massive contact. Bennett torpedoed into the outside wall.
And I believe Travis Gilbert in the 22 got the worst end of that. He got thrown into the wall.
Well, that was violent. Here's a look at the V-Speed instant replay. Keep your eyes on that white, blue, and yellow number 14. This is a crazy collision for him in the 22. Boy, I don't know if he got loose or equipment failure or what, but he just shot up the racetrack.
Yeah, I would say it was that track transition. He was already loose here through 3 and 4. He hits this portion of the track. That upsets it even more. And just that slight little bit of counter steer threw that car right up into the outside.
And that is going to be a potential day ender, not only for the 14, but also the 22. Who was running up in the top 5 all in that opening stage. And beyond, due to things beyond his control, his day might be over. I mean, he just gets absolutely slammed there by the 14 of Bennett.
It's been a rough one here at Phoenix, to say the least, but who takes over the point? It's Kevin Orlando who takes it away. It looks like the 39 machine brought it down pit road here. So a few takers on pit stops this time. Still 7 of the 10 cars in the top 10 have stayed out. You got Trevor Erhardt, 10 laps on this stint. Dakota Floyd, Kyle Diaz, Justice Murphy, Michael Call, and Chris Dale, of course, your leader. We just talked about Kevin Orlando. They're on older tires, but define older tires here. We really haven't had a cycle of green flag. I think maybe make 3 laps is our longest stint, and then we have a caution.
Yeah, I think the longest stint we've had so far tonight has been about 5-6 laps under green. And that was that second to last one before the stage break. So 6 cautions already in the opening 36 laps, but a couple lead changes to try to balance it out. And, you know, there's definitely been some action throughout the field. There has been no shortage of that, just not in very sustained bursts.
The track temperature has come down. It was up in the hundreds to start this race off. It's come down to 98 degrees now. So hopefully that'll kind of help these guys get a feel for the suspension and what it's doing. It's very greasy, very slick still, but if we do get a green flag run, you might see that temperature come back up. As this track starts to break in, you'll also have to migrate your line, and you'll see the outside, especially here in 1 and 2, start to prevail. Drivers will be right up next to that wall. Even seen some drivers kissing that safer barrier to help this car steer. If you do it just right, it can actually help you. It's one of the few tracks that taking that Chastain line will help benefit you down the backstretch.
It's always fun when you have the opportunity to rip the fence at any racetrack, especially a place where you may not always think about it, quite like a Phoenix.
So here we go. For the 7th time, we're racked back up. Chris Nail behind Kevin Orlando. Justice Murphy behind the 89 of Michael Call. Green flag back underway. ALD 150. We got a car a little bit off the pace in the background back there. We got Rob Rader all the way down to the apron here through 1 and 2. And they'll stay 3 wide for 10th.
And that's 3 wide, multiple rows deep. You see Burns, Reed, and Johnston just behind number 3 wide down the back straightaway. On board here with Rader, who almost ran out of room there with Grant Thorpe to his outside. A lot of takers down into the apron of the dogleg. They're trying to get all this sorted out. This is the tough part when you finally get going. The restarts, everything's still a little bit structured. That next lap, everyone is everywhere, and you just gotta hope that the line you're taking isn't the same as somebody else's, as the caution's out for the 7th or 8th time here tonight. McGeorge and Fike, I believe, around.
Right front damage here for the 98 of Jackson McGeorge, and probably had some help here. Alex Forget also has damage. The 24 of Al's has damage from earlier. I'm not sure if he picked up more from this. We'll dial it back on our V-Speed Instant Replay and find out. And just a case of 2 cars getting loose. The 65 and the 98 getting loose simultaneously. The 84, it looks like the 14 just snuck past this. We'll back it up a little bit further.
Yeah, on board here with Michael Bennett. You see that happening up ahead just a little bit. And yeah, someone that's there. That's McGeorge. There goes Fike as well. And Bennett looks like he gets maybe just clipped slightly. Hudgens also went around on that. So a couple of cars who, for better or for worse, have already been through a couple incidents here tonight, whether it's something that they were part of directly or just an innocent bystander.
Morgan Cook able to escape it. This is at, close to the tail end of this field. And these are cars that have picked up damage from earlier in this event. The handling of this car changes when you mess with the suspension, even if you're just knocking the toe out a little bit. Definitely changes the way you transition to that throttle pedal, and it's surprising enough with the way this car handles, but when you go knocking out the toe, that car's not getting the same grip it was getting before. That's kind of what you're going to see, is these guys slide in unison into the entry of one.
Yeah, and that making that move is already tough enough. When you start having damage that makes you less confident in how your car is going to handle something like that, it makes it that much more difficult. But yeah, that's how they kind of find themselves here. More takers for the choose cone. Top two cars both diving to the inside, and can't say that's overly shocking. Given on the restarts, that is probably the place you want to be if you can make that dog leg work for you. And we have been able to see that so far with most of our leaders, and that continues to be the case here with Kevin Orlando Jr., who got caught up in that initial incident back on lap 2. So good job to repair that damage, recover his way back up into the mix, and now finds himself leading this race.
Kevin Orlando, Michael Call, Chris Nail, Justice Murphy remain on the racetrack. We still have about 6 or 7 cars out there that have yet to come down pit road since that stage break, and it's benefited them so far. But I think right now, on borrowed time, if we get a long run, I would say at least 2 or 3 of these drivers will have to struggle and defend to try to remain in this top 5. Let's wait and see, though, as we extend this caution. We'll go one more time around, getting some drivers caught back on. Devin Hudgens getting caught up to the tail end of this field. We'll get everyone sorted with Matt Robinson allowing him into the front here. 24 Alves on the outside. This is back in 35th position. 3 cars off the racing surface. Tyler Harrison and Christopher Berger are going to join Daniel Holloway with early exits to this event. Unfortunate there for the 45. Had a lot of TV time there last week in the Recharge Rally at COTA. Circuit of the Americas put on a great show, but it was a dominating performance by the 9 car. Jeremy Burns back up to 5th here with fresher tires than the 4 cars in front of him.
So to get stacked up, ready to go. We'll be on board here with the 9 on this restart. You'll see just what it's like fanning out onto that dog leg as you pick up pace. It is hectic, to say the least.
Here we go on lap 44. A little bit of a blink there from the 89, but green flag, we're back underway. We're going to cut down all the way to the bottom.
The things getting stacked up behind him. Murphy carrying a lot of momentum in the 1 and 2. As we look deeper into the field here, side by side, farther on back, there's Rob Rader trying to get around Grant Thorpe. Christian Bresnock to the inside of Michael Reed and James Loveland. A lot of positions up for grab. As you see, Rader caught a piece of the apron, got a little bit out of sorts. It's going to cost him just a hair of momentum as they go down in the 1 and 2.
They fan out 2-3 wide briefly there in front. 57 of Dakota Floyd up to 8th position now. Car in the wall, that was Michael Call, your second place runner. Hits the wall on the exit at turn 2. The 89, he was having a little bit of a connection issue there just before the restart. Now having a little bit of a handling issue. He'll allow the 12 of Justice Murphy back by on the inside.
Yeah, and that connection issue continuing for the 89. He's trying to get that connection sorted out, but you can see heavy right front damage to the 89 where he hit the wall last lap. As Trevor Erhardt just shot out to the bottom of the racetrack as they all went roaring on by. See the 41 there to the inside of 3 wide with Loveland and Johnston. Started up in the top 10, had that spin. Oh, caution back at the exit of turn 4. A couple cars around, including John Fike.
John Fike, Kyle Stewart goes around. This is on the opposite end of the racetrack where we've seen a lot of this today. They were in the Geico restart zone, coming across turns 3 and 4, and probably some contact to help these cars around. That's the other side of this racetrack where you try to outbrake one another and you lock up those tires, slide into the guy on your outside. Back it up on the replay before we make the official call, but I would venture to say that's probably what happened here.
Yeah, something tells me you're probably right. You see, yeah, there's a little bit of contact. Kyle Stewart, John Fike gets stacked up. Caleb Gilbert helps finish off the deal. The 10 and the 65 go around. That's simply just one car trying to break it a little easier in the 3 and 4, and someone trying to dive in to get around the car they were battling for position. And then when the 10 tried checking up, the 54 was right there. And both of them end up around. Kyle Stewart facing the wrong way, middle of the track. Luckily for him, though, everyone else behind him were able to scatter and avoid, so it wasn't a bigger deal than it could have been.
And the 10 trying to check up and not get into the 65 again, but Caleb Gilbert got into him. It's just a domino effect here. So we go back to our live shot. Kevin Orlando looks like a genius right now. He hit it short just before that stage. Now cycles out to the lead. He's gotten 11 laps led now, coming up on 12 after starting in the 23rd position. Let's see if we can find Kevin Orlando Jr. Bring him up here.
Let's see, where is the 27?
OMT Racing, I think I found
There
him.
he is. Yep, you got him.
Kevin Orlando, it's Bradley Cooper and Alex Gagnon in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I think so, yeah. Gotcha. What's going on?
Well, you kind of look like a genius right now. Taking that short pit on the stage and cycle out to the lead. You got a little bit of right front damage, but for the most part, you're on even tires. It says 24 on the stint. The rest of the field is on 18. I don't think it much matters because we haven't really put a green flag run on these things yet.
Yeah, no, with all these yellows, that was kind of the thought, is if we get a bunch more yellows, can be able to hold the track position. So, it's just rough being in the back. Figure it's safer up here, especially with how slick it is going through the dog leg. If I can control it up here, I can keep the car clean and make sure we're at least there at the end of being a conversation.
So far, so good for the 27. I know that the Starry paint scheme stands out, making it stand out even better with some TV time. You got Burns to the outside. Good luck out there, and maybe we'll get to talk to you post-race.
I'm hoping for it. Thank you very much.
Kevin Orlando will be the command car for about the third time here, I believe. So he has Jeremy
Third
Burns.
time at minimum, that's for sure. It's either third or fourth. It's tough to keep track when you've had, 7 or 8 cautions in the opening 50 lap. I think we're up to 8 now. Yep. Hey, but we're up to 8 lead changes to go with it, so we are now batting an even ratio.
About to see our ninth, I have a feeling here. With fresher tires on the outside, Jeremy Burns in the number 9. In the restart zone, green flag is out, we're back underway.
As they roar in the 1 and 2, Orlando's got the spot for now. Burns trying to take the outside around Chris Nail. As Dakota Floyd up high 3 wide through 1 and 2. The 57 on his charge back to the front of the field. Got Trevor Keith right to the inside of his door. Absolutely no room for error there as they get this thing down to 2 wide.
And Floyd moves up to the top 5 on the outside. The 12, 3 wide as they go across the dog leg. 15 to Keith, loses 2 spots. Here comes Rob Rader in the 53 trying to get back to the front. A little contact between him and TK on the bottom.
Keith gets all the way down to the apron here in 3 and 4. Has a run to the inside of Raider. Not going to be able to do anything with it though as the 53 dives way down. On board now with the 15. You can see just how active he is on that steering wheel at the moment.
Yeah, you got to put a lot of wheel back and forth in this thing, but you don't want to give it too much input. This car is all about micro corrections as we have another caution out here on the racetrack. It looks like Caleb Gilbert, Jacob Sirkovich.
Oh boy, that looks to be hefty damage there for the 5. Front end looks all beat up. Caution number 9 being brought out here. And oh boy,
wow.
just got loose coming back onto the racetrack. Hammers the door of John Fike. They both get sideways. 54, Caleb Gilbert, an unsuspecting victim, has with the 10, Kyle Stewart. Bam, yeah. And they both wash up just directly behind Morgan Cook. But 4 or 5 cars get caught up in that one. The 9th caution of the day.
Over we're creating a compilation here at Phoenix Raceway. It's been action-packed. If you like crashes, we've seen a variety of them on every corner of this racetrack thus far. But don't go anywhere. We still have action to continue. Live from Phoenix, you are watching the Chapman Cup Series live on V-Speed. More coverage continues right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we've built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live at Phoenix Raceway, the green flag is out. We've had some carnage here today. We've had a lot of transition problems here through this tri-oval, and we're seeing it again here with cars fanning out all the way to the bottom. And 3 wide going into 1 and 2. Dakota Floyd up to 7th. Has Rob Rader to the inside, the driver that won stage number 1. Works his way behind the 12. Little contact here going into 3 and 4. We were talking about it here a little bit, Alex, of kind of the mentality. When you have this many cautions, you start to push the car. You want to try to get every position you can because you don't know when that next yellow is going to come out. It could come out very soon as you see.
Oh,
Grant
might be
Turner
right there.
Saves it.
Good save. Good save. Brutal for his track position, but he does keep it off the wall, which is the most important thing for him. There's Grant Turner. And the LEDs are cooking tonight.
Bunch of pedal work here. A lot of brake time through 1 and 2. He actually slides up the track a little bit here. A long float on the throttle to try to get this car repositioned for the exit. And then heavy on the brakes right here.
And you'll see that really dives down. RPMs drop pretty heftily. as they start to work their way back up. A lot of cars just running in fourth through the majority of this racetrack, which is not atypical the way this track is laid out. Burns has got the lead on board here with Kevin Orlando Jr. Even with that strategy call, still running in P2 thanks to the significant amount of restarts he's been able to maintain.
And Orlando got 13 laps led. Felt like it was more than that. Burns got him on the outside here on this last restart. Even so, you talk about track position. He manages this. It's very easily a top 10 for the 27.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he has really flipped the script here, kind of track position-wise, after getting caught up in that initial incident. As we jump back to this little three-car battle for the tail end of the top 10. Grant Thorpe is our onboard cam right now. We got Michael Call and James Loveland directly behind him. They were all under a blanket going across the start-finish line. Thorpe trying to get a bit of separation. Looks like Loveland might clear him for ninth here.
Remember, James Loveland was up in that top 5. He was running about P4. He made a little mistake on that transition to the dog leg, checked up, and unfortunate for him, the 55 was right behind him there. Once he saved that car, got right into the back of him. You lose 10, 15 miles per hour. You've got 3 wide behind you. There's nowhere for these guys to go. And we have another caution. Grant Turner, I believe, involved in this.
And we had just seen him make a pretty significant save, but we know he was on some older tires, I think, or at least at the stage he was. I don't know if that changed in the several restarts that came afterwards, but that's what you see. He's in the middle of 3 wide. Just gets tagged by the 98. Oh boy, and just T-bones the 84 Devin Hudgens there. Not much you can do there.
A shout out to Devin Hudgens. Just this past race in the Truck Series, he was in 19th position at Talladega. He finished 3rd in the last corner on the white flag.
Wow. That is not easy. It's also not easy having a 3,100-pound stock car hit you head on in the door, but, you know, he's getting all experiences here this week, it seems like. Can't imagine what that would be like in VR.
Here's virtual reality, and here's actual reality. As that wheel grabs a hold, direct drive. It definitely hurts, and he actually loses control on pit road here.
Oh boy, looks like he just missed his box. Gets it sort of back in, but a tough sequence here for Devin. It's been a tough race, really. He's been caught up in a lot of stuff beyond his own control here tonight.
When you go through this field, it seems like a lot of this is happening around mid-pack, on back, with the damaged cars, the drivers that are struggling to keep the handling underneath these machines. As now you see pit stops with Christopher Schaefer staying out. He's going to get a lap led from the 38th position, the 23 car. And get hooked 23 up front now. He's going to have the choose cone. He'll take it to the bottom. With tires this old, this is actually where we'll see kind of that, I guess, difference in the speed on this restart. Wheel spin will probably be a factor. It's the attrition of this car and a little bit of left front damage as well here for Christopher Schaefer. Have to wait and see how long he can hold it up here. He's got a hungry Jeremy Burns behind him. He has a driver that's led on the outside, the 12 of Justice Murphy, who's been fighting in this top 5 for quite some time. Everyone on fresh tires behind him.
Yeah, it's no easy feat here for Christopher Schaefer, but trying to do what he needs to do to get some positions potentially and get some track position flipped back his way. The critical part, though, is just making sure you get through the restart all right.
Well, here we go. 11th time today into that restart zone. Great jump here for the 23. They'll cut down to the bottom. Cold tires looking off the back of the 23 car.
Boy, he got a bit of a shot there from Orlando Jr. Make it 2 as he's getting pushed through that outside lane right now. The 27 trying to spur him on. As you see now, Rob Rader takes a look to the inside, trying to reclaim second. You might be able to get it right here through 3 and 4.
Rader will get by the 23. He'll go 3 wide across this tri-oval, just behind Rob Rader. 77 to Thorpe gets sideways. He holds on to it. A few other cars sideways in the background. He'll go 3 wide. Thorpe all the way down on the apron.
That was a good save from the 77, but it cost him a good bit of track position. Fell from the top 5 down to 10th. He's going to try to make a dive in here on Linz as we jump further back. There's Dylan Picklesheimer in a battle with Morgan Cook on board with the 51. You're just seeing how crazy it is through the dogleg here as cars are fanning out really wide, and they all got to sort it back in 3 wide just up ahead of them.
On board with Morgan Cook, holding on to the 18th position right now. He's been on kind of the back burner trying to repair this damage. Now looks like he has a car that is worthy of the top 10. He never had a chance to show that. We had a lot of cautions to start out this race, but now it's cleaned up. He's on offense to the outside line. Looks like it's working so far.
Looks like almost 4 wide going through the corner this time around. Caleb Gilbert was losing a ton of speed. He's up on the fence. He's dropping way back, that 54 machine. He's still up there. I wonder if there's something really wrong with that number 54 car.
Gets up here, he's 3 wide, and man, that thing just never did. I think damage is just so bad, he can't control that car, and he's just trying to keep it up out of the way.
He did a good job staying up and out of the way, but certainly hit the wall a couple more times, which isn't going to help that. The damage that the 54 has already sustained. As you see Al Likens here trying to make a move 3 wide. Picklesheimer down low on Schaefer. They're going to fan out really wide here through the dogleg. How's it all going to come back together? It's not. Michael Reed. Oh, he almost saved it, but tags calling Likens, and they're in the wall. Caution's out. It almost looked for a second there, Bradley, that they were going to find a way to make that work, but was not meant to be.
Close calls here at Phoenix. Will back this up. It's right on board with Morgan Cook. He had a front row seat to this.
So close to keeping it safe, but not enough. And we'll take another look here with Trevor Keith, and just, you see Reed sideways, he saves it, doesn't overcorrect it, but just sliding up a track a little bit to save it, gets him in the call, and then that puts Likens around, and that was all she wrote. But yeah, you saw just how wide they fanned out through the dogleg. They all tried compressing back together almost 4 wide, and they nearly got it put together, and just too little too late.
We have another opportunity to talk to some drivers. I think we looked for Jeremy Burns here on this caution. Driver the number 9 will scan through and look.
Yeah, I got him.
Jeremy Burns, Bradley Cooper, Alex Gagnon in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you got back to the lead here. Kind of respectable that you were able to claw your way through the carnage, but you also have that 53 behind you. He was the driver that took over that stage. You have long run speed, and he does fear you. I just want to establish that he is afraid of what you can do on the long run.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see what we can do here. We're going to work together here for the next, I don't know, until we get to the last stop probably. And even if we get to more restarts, we're going to work together just to try to get the team the best finish that we can. But I know out of both of us, we both have our specialties here, and it's going to be interesting to see what we got. I know this Metroplex retaining walls, number 9 Ford Mustang is pretty quick. So let's see if we can get in victory lane back-to-back weeks and just see what we can do here.
So far, so good for the 9 team. 41 laps led. Anybody you want to shout out real quick while we have you up here?
I mean, my mom and dad, Josie, my grandma, Miss Betsy, Metroplex Chain Walls, all of them, and the sponsors, the league, you guys up here, V-Speed, and yeah, that's about it.
Appreciate your time. Jeremy Burns going to be the command car for this restart. Going to be our 12th one of the day. Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir.
So, Alex, we are starting to have this war of attrition. Cars that
Oh,
are
you bet.
trying to get damage repaired, be on the strategy, running out of tires. When do you come down? When do you stay out? It's getting interesting here in the desert. Tempers are starting to flare up as the green flag comes back out. 53 of Rob Rader wastes no time on this countdown. 27 of Orlando Jr. on the outside has the 12. They're going to go 3 wide. Loveland to the bottom.
That's the second restart in a row here. 27 of Orlando Jr. did not quite get a great launch on that outside lane. Didn't cost him too much the first time. He could definitely be losing a couple spots here, though, as Loveland is to the door in 3 and 4. Justice Murphy just behind him as well, trying to find his way through. Once 27 gets going, he's got a good bit of pace, but for whatever reason, that has not applied to that outside lane restart these past couple attempts, as Loveland gets right up to the door. They make their way in the 1 and 2. And all this battling is a sight to see there for Burns and Rader, using it as an opportunity to start to put some distance on the rest of the field.
Loveland up to 3rd now. Highest he's been position-wise. Gets around the 27. Here comes the 12 of Murphy. Dakota Floyd, the 57. Top 5 still very much up for grabs. You see Trevor Erhardt on the recovery. Back up to the top 10. He was as high as 6th, I believe, at one point. Had that problem in 1 and 2. Now back up to 7th spot. Little struggle here with Johnston. Looking 3 wide with Thorpe. They will go 3 wide out of turn 2. Johnston backs out of it.
Thorpe right to the inside here in 3 and 4. Going to get all the way down to that yellow line. Going to wrap the corner, see if he can get a run off on Johnston. Not too much there that time around, but dove to the dog leg, trying to get a little bit more of a gap. See, a lot of cars still willing to take that dog leg here, even multiple laps into the run, now that they're fully up to speed.
And that side-by-side, you see the outside starting to prevail. The longer we run this car, and the more those tires heat up the right front, doesn't want to dig into this surface anymore. The outside is where you want to be. You can cut this tri-oval all you want, but eventually it's going to be outside line all the way around this place. And staying off of that bottom transition will help keep that momentum to the entry of 1 and 2. I know it's crazy to say, but I got a lot of time here in official racing. And if you can get a green flag run and just be patient with this car, it really can pay off in the long run.
And I think there's definitely some folks gambling on that exact thing happening here if they finally get settled down at some point. We just have yet to see it so far tonight, which has been very tough for the folks who are trying to get into more of a long run mentality. We'll jump on board here. The Enginuity cam. Christian Bresnock running in 11th. See Michael Reed just behind him here, trying to find his way around. Both these guys just outside the top 10. You see that battle for 10th unfolding just in front of the 4. Carter Lynn's down to the inside, trying to take that spot away from Parker Johnston.
So Carter Lynn's, we shouted out to him last week at COTA, put a lot of time in, had a connection issue, now back out on the racetrack. Looks like a solid top 10 speed. We have a caution out. And maybe Trevor Keith, yes, that will trigger the yellow here on lap 83.
It has certainly been a tiring evening for folks looking for a long green flag run here tonight. Just have not been able to get that established. As you see here in the battle, Trevor Keith, Christopher Schaefer. And yeah, 23 just washed up a little bit. 15 had that middle lane. 23 was down low, washes up the track, and that's all she wrote. Use the words you were saying just a little while ago, Bradley. The war of attrition continues here in Phoenix. Also, I think that was Joe Gioia who got really lucky not to get collected in that when the 23 came back down the racetrack.
Seen a lot of these drivers struggling here today that would normally be up in the top 10. Drivers like Nick Alves, Caleb Gilbert, Michael Bennett also comes to mind, Alex Forget, Kyle Stewart. They're outside the top 20 here. And just, you know, it has to be somebody. No one wants their name down there. But when it comes to this war of attrition, if you didn't qualify in this top 10, you've probably been caught up in something along the lines of this race. Now you're outside looking in. You're constantly in catch-up mode. And we were talking about the intensity of the drivers and deeper in this field, how we've had quite a few yellows. It kind of stems from that. They got caught up in something early. They're looking to recover, or they feel they should be in a higher position. And you never know when that next yellow is coming out. You have to go after the guy in front of you every single lap.
Yeah, and it's been one of those kind of things where, you know, even for the cars who got caught up in something early on, there's been so many cautions at this point where you're starting to shuffle your way back to the front, assuming you've been lucky enough to not get caught up in something. You know, I think about Travis Gilbert, who got caught up in that incident right after the stage break back on lap 36. You know, he fell all the way back toward the tail end of the field, may have even been a lap down. He's all the way back up to 14th, and with a car that qualified second, he might still be able to make some noise here in the mix if he's able to get back into this group as he has slowly progressed through, just working his way through each of these cautions.
We'll look at our field as we get set to go back green. Race recap on your screen. 12 cautions, 11 lead changes thus far, and James Loveland up to second now with the choose cone, putting him to the outside of Jeremy Burns. Into our Geico restart zone we go. We've wore out the loud pedal, we've wore out the replay button, but here we go back to Phoenix, past the halfway mark.
On board here with Rob Rader, trying to find his way under his teammate there. Jeremy Burns just up ahead. A repeat of the battle we saw in the opening laps of this race between the 9 and the 53. Justice Murphy looking to the inside of Loveland for third. Battle between those two about as high as they've run all evening long. Then you got Orlando Jr., Dakota Floyd door to door just behind him. Ooh. Oh, good run there for the 27. He found a way to make that work. Boy, that was tight.
And it's loose now as they go through 1 and 2. Orlando gets a little wiggly. Floyd saw that opportunity but couldn't get back to the throttle. He'll fall back to 6. Trevor Erhardt now going to take the offense to the outside of the 57. Doesn't get the drive off. Will he cut? A little bit here.
Almost a big checkup there into Erhardt. He goes all the way up high. Carter Lynn's with him. Grant Thorpe trying to slide in on the apron. Good battle here between the 41 and the 77. Erhardt's going to hold on to that spot for now. Well, you know Grant Thorpe's going to be right back to apply the pressure through 1 and 2. The 77's been really good today about getting through the dog leg and picking up time in the process.
Grant Thorpe has been fantastic as far as outbreaking the cars in front of him. That only works for so long, and now that we've approached 20 or so laps on this stint, you're starting to see him fade back a little bit here. Maybe a little bit too much usage on the right front, driving it that deep into the corner.
Travis Gilbert right to the back bumper of Grant Thorpe here. He's now inside the top 10 for the first time since that incident just after the stage break. Wrapping the apron right behind him. Gonna jump up high. Nice little move to follow the momentum. Gets in behind Carter Lyns as Lyns was about to get by Grant Thorpe. Boy, they are really dicing it up here in the back half of the top 10.
A nice little crossover there across the dog leg to get the 22 to the inside. This will put him to P9. And he'll actually get a little bit of an advantage on the bottom. Gonna work by the 77. He'll stay door to door with the 66 of Lenz down the backstretch. Side by side just behind that. Lock up here from Thorpe.
Locked up.
That's what I was talking about. Right front is cooked.
Yeah, he really launched up the track. He's lucky he didn't end up in the wall, but that's part of the advantage of how wide turns 3 and 4 are here after the reconfiguration. But Thorpe now going to fall out of that battle. As we jump on board here with Morgan Cook just behind him. Watching this unfold, you got Kyle Diaz just out the window. Oh, big slide there for the 22. I don't know what happened. He got all the way down to that inside retaining wall. Gave back that position to Grant Thorpe. I don't know if he got really loose off of 2, had some contact, or what.
Go back on our V-Speed Instant Replay and try to figure out exactly what happened here to the 22 car. This will be coming out of 1 and 2 where it happens. He actually checks up on the 26 of Kyle Diaz. Morgan Cook dove to the inside in 1 and 2 to try to take advantage of this. But here we go off of turn 2. It looks like he just gets loose on his own. No, Lenz actually gets in the wall. Hell of a save there from the 22.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal save to keep himself running inside the top 10. Here now back to the inside with Grant Thorpe. We've had a great battle between those two. Thorpe hits the wall off of turn 2. This battle for 9th continuing to unfold. Also a little battle just up in front of him. Dakota Floyd, Trevor Erhardt, Carter Lenz all going at it.
Difficult to keep up with everything that's going on in this top 10 as Lenz goes to the inside of Erhardt into 1 and 2 again. And outside starting to prevail a little bit. No, the 41 overshoots the entry. 66 gets loose. They're going to stay side by side again. It is first come, first serve for grip out here.
It certainly is. And we're seeing some cars really starting to struggle with it. I think for some folks this may have been an unopportune time to get our longest green flag run of the night. It's Travis Gilbert now closing in on the back bumper of Carter Lenz. Lenz, though, right to the door with Trevor Erhardt. A great battle here. Side drafted like crazy down the back straightaway.
And we're approaching
he almost
a
got to the
record
corner.
here. I think we're approaching the record of longest green flag run of this race. Second half has been kind to us. We have cars diving all over the place for positions. Kyle Diaz to the inside of the 91. Michael Reed, this is for 13th. 26 can't get clear down the back straightaway.
No, he cannot. Gonna try it here. Diaz to the inside. Reed's up high. Not able to really wrap that apron. And just gonna have to settle back in through the dog leg. Both of them gonna take it down to the inside. 26 has been just outside the top 10. I think the majority of tonight just hasn't found that extra step he needs to get in there. There's Morgan Cook, Parker Johnston. A little physical there off of turn 2.
A little door check there on the 48. BigOFoundation.org machine going to dive to the inside through this tri-oval. He will have the advantage on breakpoint. Can he clear the 51? Let's see if they get physical again here off of turn 2.
Right alongside each other as they make their way off the corner. Looks to be a little cleaner that time around. Now the side draft, just a hair. Going to allow Michael Reed to kind of get up into the mix here as well.
Reed now on the back bumper of Morgan Cook. Will take it out wide into 1 and 2. Cook still on the outside of the 48. He will concede the position. I think you saw what was going on there with the 91 starting to creep into the picture. I think it was time to give that spot up.
Yeah, there's always those moments during a race when you're battling a driver and someone else gets up there who might be in a slightly better spot. And you have to try to make that determination on the fly of, if I keep battling here, am I going to lose both these positions?
Contact.
Oh, contact! Oh, Cook trying to save it. He will. Good save from the 51. And he actually isn't really going to lose that much track position. It's just going to be Reed and Picklesheimer who go on by. I don't know if that was the 51 backed up his braking point or the 91 really drove it in deep, but he got right to the corner there going into turn 1. And the 51 had to make a pretty spectacular save. And they hadn't even got to the corner yet.
I'm going to venture to say that Morgan Cook probably not very happy with that, but it could have been a lot worse.
Could have been significantly worse. I mean, we've seen that exact sort of bit of contact in 1 and 2 a couple times tonight, where the car overcorrects and launches into the fence. So it was a phenomenal bit of car control there to prevent that exact thing from happening. You see now he's back on the warpath trying to battle with Kyle Diaz. This is just outside the top 10. I believe that's the battle for 14th. We jump on up here. Trevor Erhardt has a mirror full of Travis Gilbert in 3 and 4.
Dakota Floyd just in front of them. The lead has stretched out for Jeremy Burns, a full second ahead. James Loveland in second ahead of Rob Rader. We have just about 50 laps to go here from Phoenix Raceway, the longest green flag run that we've had tonight. And we're approaching green flag pit stops, if you can believe it here.
With the way the race started, I'd be hard-pressed to believe it, but we're watching it unfold here in real time. We're on board with James Loveland. About just under a second from Jeremy Burns. He's honestly been one of the faster cars on the racetrack these past couple laps.
Yeah.
He's starting to reel in the 9 here, yeah.
E-Speed's very own James Loveland in the 0-2. Pulling in, Jeremy Burns has him down to about 9/10 of a second on lap 107. Through the tri-oval, Bob Rader that time by. It was a 10th faster for Loveland. Burns 2/10 faster than Rader. And Justice Murphy, looks like he's a little bit faster in this top 4. He's catching Rob Rader.
That he is, the All About Bugs number 12 roaring up to the back bumper of the 53 here. So it looks like we are starting to get a couple takers for pit road. Just as things are really starting to unfold at the front. See Grant Thorpe, not surprised he's one of the first cars in. We were seeing he was really having some handling issues here later into that run.
Well, the problem here is when is too early. If you get caught on pit road and you can't recover and the caution comes out, maybe you get yourself into a scenario that you're a couple laps down and you never do get back on that lead lap. That being said, now you can short pit. Maybe you make up that ground. He seems to be a better short run car in the 77, so the longer he can have fresh tires on this thing, the better off he's going to be.
Absolutely, and I don't know if you saw it there, Bradley, but Trevor Erhardt nearly had a really scary moment through the dog leg. He almost lost it when he was battling side by side with Travis Gilbert. He was lucky to collect it. See, the thing just gets real loose. He's able to save it, but loses a good bit of track position in the process, and that's the danger of taking the dog leg this deep into a run. The handling that was already a little bit suspect just gets that much worse.
And it's such a minor transition. You know, in any other car, especially the older Cup car, you hit that, you feel it, but the car just kind of sucks down to the racetrack. It's like a sudden just plant. With this car, it's not as much wedge, it's not as much offset, it's more symmetrical. The independent rear end, there's just so many factors. And a car into the inside there, I don't know who that is. I think that's Rob Rader,
Rader.
in the 53, and he clips the 35 of Picklesheimer.
Picklesheimer's been drifting it all the way through 1 and 2.
What happened to Rob Rader here?
I don't know. He fell from second to third and then from third to way back. You see Murphy gets on by, and the same thing we just saw with Trevor Erhardt. He tried to get down on the dog leg too late, get the car out of sorts. And then as he goes to rejoin the track here right at the apex of the corner entry, not I guess the apex of the corner, but the point where people start diving down, nearly gets contact there with the 35 of Picklesheimer. Or if he did, it might have been a slight amount. I mean, the closing right here was tremendous. And no, I don't think they actually made contact, but I think just him coming up on the racetrack may have took the 35 out of the line he was looking to run.
Mickelsheimer falls to 11th here. Actually, I think he didn't lose any positions on that, but he did lose ground to the 41. Trevor Erhardt, who just had a moment there in the dogleg as well. Looks like he's stabled back out. 27 of Orlando Jr. has the 48. Parker Johnston looking to the inside. This is for the 8th position.
Yeah, good little battle here between two cars who have done a really good job hanging in the top 10 tonight. Parker Johnston qualified 11th. He's been staying in the mix. Kevin Orlando Jr., with that strategy call earlier on, got that track position and has not let it go since he's been able to get into the top 10. We jump out here. Trevor Keith, Devin Hudgens battling deeper in the pack. This is the battle, I believe, for 18th or so. Or it looks like Trevor Keith's running in the 18th position. I don't know if Devin Hudgens actually is. I think he's actually off the lead lap. Yeah, he's back at 35th, 27 laps down, which is just kind of describe the day it's been for the 84.
Well, earlier I was looking to my left. I glance over to these driver cams every now and then, and I saw a lot of wheel being put into this thing for Trevor Keith. He was getting frustrated, and I can see why. He's back here in 17th position with a car that is a lap down or so. And the 84 machine of Hudgens is 27 laps down, and they were fighting hard.
Yeah, that they were, and I could see the frustrations there for TK. It was also one of those things, there's enough time left in this race. You just got to keep your head on straight and try to soldier on for the next 40 laps here as more and more takers for pit road, including the leaders, Burns and Loveland. And I tell you what, the 0-2 was really closing in those last couple laps. He got within about 0.3 of a second before they both bailed down pit road.
So now he has to hit this stall perfectly. He was within 0.3 just before these pit stops. Perfect into the stall. Going to get the service started right away here. He has the right sides up first. He could win this battle off of pit road on Jeremy Burns. If they get to battling, though, I don't think this works in Loveland's favor if they battle right away. I think for Loveland, he waits patiently, lets the 9 car try to get away from him, reels him back in here for the remaining 10 to 15 laps.
And they cycle out on track here, the 9 just inside of the 14. More takers on pit road. There's Sirkovich. Joe Joya overshot his pit box. Al Likens will shuffle to the front of this field as they are continuing green flag stops here at Phoenix. And Travis Gilbert down on the way. And there's the 13 of Al Likens, leading his first couple laps of the race. Going to try to stretch this thing as long as he can, I think, before he has to take it down pit road.
Yeah, for these guys that have started outside the top 10 here today, that's probably the best call you can make. You've struggled to be in the top 10 all day long. Now you ride this thing out for as long as you can, try to keep some of these drivers a lap down, and if a caution does come out, now you find yourself in the top 15. It's a good call here. I agree with it, and hopefully we can see it stay green. But, you know, for some of these guys that are coming back to get their lap back, you see the 9 of Burns. He'll get that lead lap now with the 0-2 right close behind. I said it earlier, I don't know if this plays into Loveland's favor if he goes battling with the 9, but if he does push him, that's the other factor. If he can keep the 9 pushing and just save his stuff in the background, maybe, just maybe, that's the play here for Loveland.
Yeah, it's also a very tall order. We know Burns so good at managing stuff over a long run. It'll be a really interesting battle here between the 0-2 and the 9. Obviously, Burns looking to go 2 in a row here after winning COTA last week. The 0-2 at James Loveland looking for his first win of the season. Could be a really fascinating battle as this plays out. Tell you what, though, by doing the massive undercut, Grant Thorpe leads by about 1.5 seconds of those who have come down pit road. However, that's not going to last for long, I think, because his tires are significantly older than the 9 and the 0-2s.
Yeah, he has about 10 laps longer on this stint than Burns and Loveland. Grant Thorpe, that lead dwindling down. You saw 1.1 seconds, now underneath 1 second as they come across that dog leg. And even then, he's still not going to be in the lead. He still has Jackson McGeorge, who's in the lead. Trevor Keith still out on the racetrack. Al Likens now down pit road. He overshoots his box by an entire stall here. And now the 98's coming in.
McGeorge going to stop as well. So Trevor Keith then would inherit the lead. And for frustrating as today as it's been for the 15, he will be able to say he's at least led a lap here tonight. And still trying to see if he can get that that caution to break the right way for him. I'm sure this is kind of a moment if you are the 15 or if you're the 23 for Schaefer, where you just kind of go, man, we've had 12, 13 cautions, whatever it is tonight, and the moment we need one, there is none to be found. And that is just, sometimes the way it goes.
And he's on a weird stint. He's kind of in between drivers that haven't pitted yet and drivers that short pitted. He's 39 laps on this stint, and Christopher Schaefer behind him here is 49 laps. Then you have the 16 laps back here with Grant Thorpe, who's being caught. Jeremy Burns is there now on the inside. This will be the position which will cycle to the lead here momentarily if they can stay green. 77 on the outside. He'll fight. He'll get loose. The 9 in the middle. 0-2 of Loveland sees that bobble. He's going to go to the inside in 1. Not there yet.
Yeah, he is alongside, but he's also got a nose to the inside of Burns here through 1 and 2. Not going to be able to keep it there. That's about as close as he's been all day to try to take that lead away from the 9. So now they are nose to tail with only 2 cars of traffic in front of them. That's Grant Turner just up ahead. And then Trevor Keith, who's got some work to do. The 39, bit of a short stop, I think, has put him in that position. You see the 9 and the 0-2 going to try to go right on around.
Trevor Keith still out on the racetrack. He could probably go another 10 to 15 laps. It will not take him to the end of this race as we have just under 30 laps to go. Jeremy Burns and James Loveland, the 2 drivers that are on an island all by themselves competing for this win. Loveland backs up a little bit here. And I agree with this. If he's purposely doing this and not actually just losing ground to the 9, that's what I would want to do. Let him go out a half a second ahead of you, maybe burn his stuff up trying to get away. Reel him back in when we get that 15 laps to go. I think that's his best play. He showed that he could do that earlier.
I tell you what, one thing I'm keeping an eye on is that this may not be just a 2-car tango at the end of this thing. The 22 of Travis Gilbert has worked himself within a second of this battle, and he came down not too far off from those guys. And he's about to make a move here on Grant Thorpe to move him up to P4.
He's to the inside of the 77 car. Thorpe on older tires will concede this position. Trevor Keith still out there in the lead. He'll run another lap around this place. So far, this green flag run exceeding 50 laps now. From the start of this race, it's making up for it. The first half, 12 cautions, 15 lead changes with that stage, won by Rob Rader. Now we find ourselves, I mean, if you would have told me that we'd go caution-free in the second half of this race, I would have called you a liar.
Yeah, I think that would have been a fair assumption with the way this had started. But obviously, we're looking at this thing going just over 25 laps to go here from Phoenix. Trevor Keith leads by about 5 seconds, but he cannot make it to the end on this current run of fuel. Jeremy Burns, James Loveland is where the battle's at. Those two separated by about 0.4 of a second, and then Caleb Gilbert sitting just about a second and a half behind them, but closing, at least through the opening part of that stint. We'll see if that run continues for him.
Trevor Keith coming down pit road now. He stayed out there as long as he probably thought made sense. He doesn't want to stay out there too long, relying on a caution to happen. He'll end up losing more ground than he gains. 15 down pit road. Burns takes over the point with 25 roughly to go.
I believe it's 25 to go this time around. I think this is the 25th remaining. So Burns leads by about 0.4 over the 0-2. They came in to pit road around the same time. saw they had pretty even stops, and they've departed pit road and even in the lap since. Have really not gotten any separation, but this long green flag run, as you can see from the sky cam, has really just put cars all over this racetrack, and lap traffic could absolutely become a factor as this one gets down to its final laps here.
The other thing I'm noticing is it looks like it's about to rain here in the desert. As cloudy as it is, this track is cooling off. Look at the track temp, 94 degrees. It's continuing to come down. Oh, Burns the wall.
Burns hammered the wall. That was heavy contact in the right rear for the 9. Can't imagine the car is going to feel particularly happy about that.
Like blood in the water for a shark, the 0-2 saw that happen. Said, I think he's starting to fall a little bit here, and he's starting to get aggressive.
Yeah, you see, it looks like he's starting to force the issue a little bit more here. Got down to 0.2 of a second through 1 and 2. You see this battle here, Dakota Floyd, Carter Linz, P6 side by side. Linz going to slide back in behind, get a little bit of that draft, and going to reset here going into 1 and 2. Curious to see what direction he takes going through the dogleg. Does he try to get under him? Not too much. Both of them just a shallow bit of that dogleg going in the 1.
So we're carrying on for about an hour and a half of racing. Just over 20 laps to go here from Phoenix in race number 4. Jeremy Burns has led the most laps here today with 86. He started on the pole, had competition with Rob Rader. Rob Rader had a problem through the dogleg, and we haven't had a caution since that happened. He has not been able to recover, currently running in the 14th position. We are going to take a quick break here. Hopefully everything stays calm and collected. You are watching the Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series live on V-Speed. More coverage continues in the final stage of this race right after this.
Been around for 32, almost 33 years. You know, it's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Welcome back here to Phoenix Raceway. So far, so good. We stayed clean and green. Jeremy Burns, still your leader. The KLD 150 for Phoenix Raceway. Here's a look at Jeremy Burns. James Loveland has fallen off. I think he might have got bamboozled here a little bit, as 1.5 seconds is the lead coming up on the closing laps. I don't know if Loveland's purposely backing up anymore.
Yeah, I think it may have been just going after a little bit, and you know, a couple of mistakes here or there compound, especially when you're going up against a guy like Jeremy Burns. who's just so fluid behind the wheel and very rarely makes a mistake outside the one where we saw him hit the wall there. So the live feed back up with about 14 laps to go, and tell you what, we might end up with a battle for second before long here as Travis Gilbert within a second of Loveland for P2, and it would be quite the odyssey for Travis Gilbert if he gets back up to second. That's where he qualified here today, but he has been able to run basically anywhere but the top two as they've been going here today. He's had to do a real Herculean effort to get back up into the mix.
And has a little bit of a moment there through the dog leg. It looks like he just lost a ton of time. I know that would look really minor, but watch this on board.
And that was maybe a bit of a commentator's curse if I've ever seen it. I was just saying, you know, what an effort's been to get back into the mix here to try to get back to where he qualified. And you'll see on board here with the 22 just has to really get out of the throttle. See, he got real loose, out of sorts, and then had to really catch it going through there. Did a good job to keep it moving, but definitely lost a good bit of time.
Yeah, and last time by, he ended up losing almost a full second that he had reeled in. So all of that time that he gained on James Loveland, he's going to have to start all over again with about 10 laps to go. Meanwhile, Jeremy Burns, 2 seconds ahead now. Dakota Floyd has settled out with Carter Lenz falling back a little bit. This is what a green flag run looks like at Phoenix. Cars all the way around this 1 mile oval.
Yeah, everyone's finding their own little bit of real estate, and they're trying to make it happen. But even though, you know, we've had this long run and people have had the opportunity to spread out, doesn't mean there isn't a couple battles to keep an eye on here. You see, there's Chris Nail in the 88. He's a part of a little 3-car battle here for 16th. Surkovich and Hudgens isn't on the lead lap, but he's a car in this mix-up here. The 5 is Surkovich, and the 88 of Nail, that is for the 16th position as they run door-to-door down the back straightaway.
Surkovich dives to the inside in 3 and 4, just trying to get clear of the 88. He will get the advantage on the entry, but the 88 fights back on the high line. Here's the cut on the dog leg. Looks like the 5 has cleared Chris Nail. No, he hasn't. Car checks up. That's Berube.
Hudgens just gets a piece of the 88 into the fence, pointed the wrong way, and Jeremy Burns' lead of over 2 seconds has evaporated with only 8 laps to go. Boy, they had such a long green flag run going.
Man.
Boy, Chris Nail got real lucky.
Loveland just picked up damage from that.
Yeah, he did. Holy. There's the contact between Hudgens and Nail. The 88 in the fence, and to his credit, Chris Nail does not try to come back down and merge into oncoming traffic. He stayed up to the wall and just, I don't know if the 02 didn't. I mean, you have to have seen him. He was sitting up there. Maybe he just thought he was going to be clear and wasn't. Well, yeah, just clipped him. And that's going to be a real detriment to him trying to go out there and take this lead away from Jeremy Burns. Any aspirations of that may have just gone out the window with a lot of right side damage. One more look here with Devin Hudgens, and you'll just see I don't know exactly what happened. I think he was trying to give room to the 19 and then just washed up and took out the 88. A lot of takers for pit road here in the closing stint. People trying to put fresh tires on, including the leaders. Got to imagine someone, though, is going to try to strategy call deeper in the field. And that is really going to mix up the bunch here.
I'm going 2 tires here. If I'm 5th on back, I'm 2 tires. Call.
Yeah, try to make
Burns
something happen.
Burns knew it.
Gilbert did as well. He'll jump up the P2. I think he jumps Loveland. Linz, Parker Johnston also coming off of pit road here. The 02 trying to get that damage repaired. He's going to lose all of that track position he had. It was a great run going for him, but does not look like he'll have the ability to close it out here tonight.
And he probably got some right front suspension damage, and the car not going to handle, so he's probably better off to try to get it repaired and hope that he can get back on the lead lap here. He's going to lose a lap. Or maybe not. He's coming back out, but it looks like that car crab walking a little bit, steering offset.
So when they get going again, they're only going to have a couple laps left. Looks like, wow, Trevor Keith, I don't know if that was just a late deciding to not commit down pit road or if he missed it. But he really almost ended up in the pit barricade.
I think he was letting the O2 by, or trying to. Because we heard the O2 floating the throttle. I don't know exactly what's going on here, but he's trying to let somebody by before he comes down pit road, and he can't.
Yeah, he quite parks it, and then shoots back out onto the racetrack when they go on by. I don't know, but the field's stacked up. It's going to be Burns and Erhardt, Travis Gilbert, Parker Johnson, Carter Lynch, Michael Reed, the front 3 rows. So we get ready to go for what is basically a glorified green-white checker.
Oh, it's about to get crazy here.
This is about to go 4-5 wide. How are they going to figure this out? 4 wide into the corner. Picklesheimer down on the apron. Oh, boy.
Oh, he's going to hold on to it. Floyd gets loose. 35 of Picklesheimer. Rob Rader.
Rader shoots up to the track. Takes out Joe Joya. Cautions out, and now there will be a proper green-white checker. Take one more look at this here on board with the 53. You see him in the middle, 3 wide, Diaz up high, Picklesheimer down low. And yeah, a little bit of contact to 35 and the 57 down into Rader. Rader then just shoots up the track, blows up Joe Joya. Loveland caught in it as well. It was one of those plays that develops so quickly that before you have a chance to react, you're in it. On board here with the O2, you see all that unfolding. You try to get low, and then you realize at the last second you can't go that way, and then Rob Rader's there to close off the gap, if you will.
We've seen that a lot on the backstretch here at Phoenix. It's looking more and more like Travis Gilbert's going to be the only one to fight here. He's been the only car consistently in this top 3 today. Trevor Erhardt, probably top 5 speed. Burns is going to have one more restart as we go into overtime. 156 miles wasn't enough.
It certainly was not. And I tell you what, Travis Gilbert, you know, he had some good speed in that opening stage, got caught up in the wreck, had to work his way back to the mix, and now he might be in position to try to steal one here from Jeremy Burns. Burns, though, has been by far the fastest car today, has led by far the most amount of laps, looking to go 2 in a row. Would be a great start to the season. He just got the points lead last week, trying to build on it this week. And to your point, we've seen some comers and goers in that front group, but I don't know if there's anyone outside the 22 who could really make a run at Burns here. So I think Burns is going to just have to do a little bit of mirror driving here and try to keep that 22 behind him.
Remember, Erhardt will be on the outside here for this restart. Things got really interesting in the closing laps. Thought we were going to have that green flag run to finish things out with the top 3 pretty locked in. That's not the case. Devin Hudgens gets into the side of, I believe that was Lynn's in the 88.
It was Chris Nail.
Chris Nail, apologize. It was the 88 though. And brings out our caution there with about 7 laps to go. Now we're in green-white checkered territory as Rob Rader gets into the back of a couple different cars. 57 got loose there, the 35 of Picklesheimer, and then into Joe Joya. We're not done yet. We still have 2 attempts at these green-white checkers. First one underway into the restart zone from Phoenix. Race number 4 into overtime.
And they all dive into the dog leg. Oh, Gilbert got a pretty decent run. He'll be toward the back bumper through 1 and 2. Reed trying to climb the fence, trying to find a way around Erhardt. Gonna run it down the back. Oh, massive wreck in 1 and 2. They're going to have to re-rack it one more time because there is a number of cars around, including Jackson McGeorge.
And the carnage continues. Morgan Cook, an early exit to this event as well. 98 of Jackson McGeorge. I don't know exactly what triggered all of this, but this is Phoenix. 98 into the outside wall, causes a checkup. Rob Rader.
Oh, Johnston and Dakota Floyd also around the same time. That gets Diaz and Likens. Rader in it. Yeah, it looks like a couple of things that all kind of happened concurrently. But what would be this Phoenix race if we didn't try to maximize the amount of yellow flag waving we could get here in the closing moments? Almost got away from it, but we're trying to even out that ratio right at the line.
Yeah, with lead changes, superseding cautions, it looks like we're playing catch-up now. Don't think we're going to beat it, though. We only have one more attempt. I think we're going to end up tying it if we get another caution.
Yeah. Tying it at worst. I would not say at best. I would love to see this end under green if possible. But so for anyone at home who didn't know how the green white checkered works, and we didn't have the chance to mention it the previous go around, you're gonna have 2 laps of a bit of a green flag shootout here to the end of the race. Should they have a caution, I guess point with this being the last green white checkered, basically once they take the green, next flag will end the race between the checkered or the caution. Ideally it'll be the checkered flag, but if there is a caution that comes out, that will end the race at this point. So it's all going to come down to this. If you've been saving anything for some of these restarts, now is the time to go and make something happen.
You'll have about 25 cars under their own power and 22 of them on the lead lap.
Now, if you were to continue dicing that down to the number of cars of those 22 without damage, I think we drop into the single digits pretty quickly here, because there has been a lot of cars who have at least picked up a little bit of damage here or there here today. And this cloud cover is getting really intense. The track temp has got to be plummeting from where it started today.
Down to 91.
That's a good 10 degrees cooler than where it started today.
So very cloudy here in the closing laps from Phoenix. The desert being kind, trying to cool this place off. But I don't think it's cooled down any at all. The intensity of this racing is about to pick up times 10 for this final restart. One last attempt at finishing under green from Phoenix. Race number 4, KLD, Truck Repair 150. Green flag's out. Burns into turn 1.
They're going to be led through the dog leg there by the 9. Erhardt with a good run on the high side. Trying to get past Carter Linz. Oh boy, a little bit of contact there. Elbows out, 3-4 wide almost. Here we go, down the back straightaway. Hammered the wall there was Erhardt.
And it's one more time around from Phoenix. We are going to make it official. White flag, 1 to go. Presented by Erhardt Homes. Love where you live.
Well, Gilbert might be there. He's taking a peek to the inside.
He's going to have one more chance out of here in 3 and 4. He'll send it deep. No, he will not. And Jeremy Burns is going to go back-to-back. Here's Carter Linz for 3rd position. Not going to get it. It's Jeremy Burns getting the victory at Phoenix.
Well, the pole sitter gets it done. But boy, there were a couple of jump scares along the way. A couple of restarts he had to navigate. But when he needed to, he got the job done to make it 2 in a row. And I tell you what, that is quite the podium there between him, Travis Gilbert, Carter Linz. I have a feeling we'll be seeing a lot of those 3 as this season continues.
Come around for our post-race celebration. Jeremy Burns, who led 112 laps here today. He led 6 in overtime. He extended that lead. And there's your top 3 on the front stretch with Jeremy Burns burning it down. We're going to round some of these drivers up. We're going to get a quick word here with your winner of tonight's event, Jeremy Burns in the number 9. As soon as he's done with his celebration, burning it down on the front stretch, we have concluded 161 miles. An additional 7 miles compared to what we were supposed to run here today, I believe. 6 miles at least.
Yeah, technically about an additional 11 from the advertised distance.
Insanity.
Who doesn't love a little extra racing, huh?
Yeah. Well, Jeremy Burns probably wanted this thing to be over 11 laps ago.
About to say, we wouldn't even have had to get into those extra cautions if it was done 11 laps earlier, because he would have just been able to drive off on that long green flag run at that point.
Well, we have our opportunity here to pull the 9 car into the broadcast booth as I hunt for the 9. Everyone moving around, getting pulled around.
I got him if you need it.
All right, go ahead and take him down here. We'll get a quick.
Alrighty.
Jeremy Burns, it's Bradley Cooper and Alex Gagnon. Congratulations on the victory. I know that this thing was a little extended more than you anticipated here today, but all in all, you had the car to beat. You showed that James Loveland was no match in the long run. We were kind of worried just before those pit stops that maybe the O2 had something for you, but you were able to pull out 2.5 seconds just before that caution came out, and you held on all of these restarts to get the win.
Yeah. I mean, wow. I mean, how Phoenix ended last season to coming out here tonight. I mean, I just had a little chip on my shoulder, and to come out here and, we practiced really hard with the team this week. I know Rob was bad fast there and in the beginning portions. Everybody on the team really was. I mean, Bennett, he may have been laps down, but he was the one driving away from me there. But all in all, wow, what a race. It was unfortunate to see those two get tangled up there and have that caution come out 10 to go. But overall, I felt like our long run pace, like you said earlier, was the one to beat. And I mean, wow, like I said, it's just such a feeling to come out here and perform like that. And I mean, that one is the best feeling one that I've had in a while. Just because there was so much that went into it last season to come out here and get that win. It really does mean a lot. And then to go back to back as well. But yeah, I have a lot of excitement right now. So yeah, just trying to calm myself down a little bit.
Well, Jeremy, you're going back on last season. Phoenix was kind of that deciding race, right? So you're in the playoffs, you have a playoff berth, and the race just didn't go your way to seal up that championship. Here, it was a race not going your way, but you constantly stayed in the fight and found your luck. You kind of worked your way through adversity to get back to the position where you felt comfortable and confident.
Yeah, I mean, last year we felt like we had it in hand too again until a caution came out and just unfortunate circumstances with choose cones and stuff like that. But this year, I definitely was contemplating what to do on that pit stop. I lost one championship by not coming to pit road at all. That lost another one by not taking 2 tires. So needless to say, we're starting to learn, right?
You did all the things. You checked all the boxes here in this one.
Yeah, and like I said, it feels really good to win 2 out of the first 4 races of the season. So feels really good, just keeping up that momentum. And as a team, I felt like we were really fast. Just some guys caused some unfortunate breaks, but it's a really promising sign here early in the season.
2 in a row here for Jeremy Burns, and I know I got a lot of people that you were thanking during that mid-race interview when we talked to you earlier, but now let's go through the full list of all 45 people that put this 9 car on the racetrack.
Yeah, you called me there with no list. I couldn't pull my phone up in time, but my mom and dad, Josie, Dylan, Coach P, Sonny, my grandma, Miss Betsy, of course, for her continued support, Julie, Derek, Caroline, Shannon, Belinda, Betty and Colleen, everybody over at LMNX and Performance. It's impressive to see 3 out of the 4 races going our way this season. So really happy for them. Metroplex, of course, for being on the hood. Actually got the shirt in. Got it when I came back on spring break, so felt really good about that. Enginuity Power Systems for their continued support. Buttkicker, Coast Financial, All About Bugs, V-Speed, Admin and the other drivers, Chapman Environmental Services, and you guys up here, of course, up here at V-Speed. Y'all do a phenomenal job, and wow, we're going to soak this one in tonight and go celebrate a little bit.
Well, there you go. I'm sure I'll talk to you here post-race and once we wrap things up. But congratulations on the victory, Jeremy. I know this one means a little bit more. Instead of Coda, where you were in the lead and you never really saw the back of the field, you saw a little bit of everything here tonight. So congratulations on that. Great job.
Thank you.
So with that, we will move to our commercial break. We're going to catch up with some of these drivers later. Your post-race results coming up right after this quick commercial break. You are watching Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series live on V-Speed. We'll be back right after this.
Chapman's been around for 32, almost 33 years. It's a great company. We've built it from 10 people not all that long ago to 32 people today. We continue to grow. We're hiring people all the time. If there's one thing that I could do, like before my time is up at Chapman, it is making sure that we built a company that will stand the test of time. And my goal as the current owner of the company, or one of the owners of the company, is to ensure that we can pass the ownership of the organization on to the next generation of people coming up the ranks today. One area of our business where we impact the local communities pretty heavily is the school systems. So we work for school systems all over the northern part of the state of New Jersey. We operate their water systems, their wastewater systems. We do a lot of their permitting and compliance work, and we ensure that the water that the kids drink is clean. We go out and do the sampling to ensure that it's not contaminated. And we also treat the wastewater that's being generated at a lot of these facilities as well before it gets discharged to the environment. So we are supporting the local community through supporting the boards of education and the local school systems.
Back here live at Phoenix Raceway. Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series has concluded. 161 laps. Post-race interview with Jeremy Burns, and well, I gotta say, this is one of the few places that you can pull into victory lane, so we gotta take a quick shot at that. Here's Jeremy Burns gonna go into that victory lane. You don't see it too often here on the iRacing service, and I wish it was more common, that it was accessible, but Burns is gonna pull it up here on the pedestal of the inside of turns 3 and 4. Why is that not a thing at every racetrack we go to, Alex?
It really should be. It's kind of a crime that we can only do it at, I believe, like 2 or 3 tracks. I understand that, they all want to try to code the infield for every place, and it makes file sizes a lot larger, but like, come on. At least put it in victory lane. Like, this is what it's all about.
Exactly. Well, there he is, parked up on top of that checkered flag at Phoenix Victory Lane. Congratulations to Jeremy Burns on this victory. A lot of results on your screen. We tied. I thought we had 16 lead changes. I thought we were at 16. Maybe.
Yeah, it definitely was 16. I don't know where we lost the lead change.
Yeah, I guess it negated that. Maybe because someone passed under caution. I don't know entirely, but all in all, Travis Gilbert, Carter Lenz, we'll get a word with those two drivers in just a moment. Top 3 days for those drivers. Michael Reed is going to get a top 5. Trevor Erhardt, solid day for him. Grant Thorpe recovers. Remember, he had to come down pit road a little bit earlier, and it looked like he might fall out of the top 10. That late caution bails him out. He was a short-run car for sure. He'll get a top 10, 6th position. Kevin Orlando Jr., he found himself up in the top spot, led some laps here today. Great call there to short pit on the stint for the stage 1. He led some laps in the second stage and stayed in the top 10 for the remainder of this race. Dakota Floyd, solid day for the 57. Matt Robinson in the 11, and Kyle Diaz will round out your top 10.
Yeah, 11th here tonight, Jacob Sirkovich in the 5, just ahead of Trevor Keith. Dylan Picklesheimer brings it home 13th. Christopher Schaefer, a big mover from 38th to 14th here tonight, and Kyle Stewart will be 15th here this evening. Now Likens finishing 16th, just ahead of Christian Bresnock. Justice Murphy will be in 18th tonight, with Grant Turner in 19th and Jackson McGeorge rounding out your top 20.
21st goes to Johnston. Rob Rader back to 22nd position. Tough break for him. He was a top 5 car for sure. Brandon Richardson will finish 23rd. Nick Alves 24th. Alex Forget, a car that had wins last season. He's yet to have a good race here in the Cup Series. He had a win in the trucks. John Vike in 26th. James Loveland, that was a car that probably deserves second place here today. 27th position. Joe Joya, he will finish 10 laps down. Justin Ritchie, 29th. And Michael Call for your top 30.
And rounding out the rest of the field here tonight, Chris Nail finishing 31st, just ahead of Morgan Cook. Michael Bennett, Devin Hudgens, Caleb Gilbert, Tyler Harrison, Dylan Holloway, and Christopher Berger.
Early exits for all of these cars from Chris Nail on down. In a tough break, I think Morgan Cook found himself in the top 10 several times today. But every time he got up there, something happened near or in front of the 51. We saw a lot of onboard replays in the first half of this race and just never could catch a break here from Phoenix. But with that, we're going to catch up with some of our drivers that finished in the top 3. Our second place finisher, Alex Gagnon, has caught up with Travis Gilbert in the number 22.
Hey there, Travis. You got a copy?
I do. How's it going?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Well, hey, welcome back to the podium. And tell you what, you qualified second, finished second, but I think the journey on how you got from point A to point B was anything but straightforward here tonight. Talk to us a little bit about the incident that got you shut back in the field, and then what it was like trying to work your way back through it.
Yeah, lap 34. Just had a good stage, was doing what I could, cautions, just being safe, after the beginning of the season. A couple of rough super speedway races left me pretty far down in the points with the recovery there at Coda. So tonight, after the stage, I thought, okay, we're just riding 10th after the restart, and we go down into the dog leg, and out of nowhere, I'm spun sideways, driver's side against the wall, and I had 4 minutes of damage at that point. So the wheel was broke, or how it goes, they break them or whatever, give you damage. So I had to go pit and just fought with all the cautions, and we had a really, really fast, vet to track number 22 Ford Mustang. So the guys at Racing for Freedom, they really put together a good piece. Ray was coaching me, he's not able to be over here in the league and stuff, but he puts in a lot of time with this over at Racing for Freedom to try to prepare us for these races and get us, at least in contention. Jeremy, congrats to him. He was nice and clean out there on the restart there. I wasn't willing to jeopardize bad blood with him and or anything like that. I like Jeremy. He's a good guy and stuff. So just wanted to finish clean after everything that happened there, like you said, in that incident on lap 34 with Bennett. And Bennett apologized and everything. Still, nonetheless, it was a long climb to the front, and just glad that we could get there.
Yeah, and ultimately it came down to, it looked like you were probably going to have to settle for a P3 if that green flag run went all the way to the end. You were about a second clear of the O2, and then late cautions, everything stacks back up, and now you find yourself back in second spot. Does this run give you some confidence going into some more of these ovals, knowing that once you got off the super speedways, things are starting to even back out a little bit?
Yeah, the Racing for Freedom team is really good on super speedways. Devin and B Rich got a 1-2 finish at Atlanta. Kyle finished second over in Daytona. So the Racing for Freedom team, other than myself, really had a good speed weeks or super speedway for the most part, I guess. I call it speed weeks because it's like a two week super speedway extravaganza. So yeah, it's really good to go back. I love Phoenix. Phoenix is one of my good tracks. Probably a lot of people would say one of my better tracks, my best track. With that being said, it was still I was missing something compared to Jeremy and Rob, especially over off of turn 4. I feel like I could beat them 75% of the track, which was in the braking zone, getting into the zone, rolling the center. However, the drive off for them, they could beat me. I noticed it right at the beginning of the race. Turn 4 was my weakness and their strong suit. And to get the track position from that incident with the 34, I had to go left sides for the rest of the race there under the pit cycles. I was mad to see the caution came out. Even though I finished second, I would have been good with P3. I did not want to line up. I was asking Ray, like, what do I do here? Like, I took right sides to get track position for that third place. Otherwise, I'd have probably been fighting for fifth or sixth with Justice and Dakota and them, Trevor Earhart. So I took right side tires there with the caution, and I had one opportunity I felt like was the first green white checker. Jeremy kind of cooked it off into turn 1, and I was alongside of him getting almost into turn 3 when the caution came out. So that was probably my best opportunity to win the race. And after that, the second time you got a good start, and I wasn't willing to jeopardize the second place or third place finish at that point.
Well, that's entirely fair, and you're going to be able to walk away with a lion's share of points here tonight between a good stage finish and a good finish overall. Congrats, and Travis, anyone you'd like to shout out here tonight?
Yeah, my buddy Terry and Tweet, they're down in Florida. They're with their friends, so hopefully they can show them this race. And they're always excited and they always watch wherever they go. So I hope that they have safe travels and God bless them. And my mom Louise, she's watching. My nephews Branson and Tristan, my sister Macy. God, I appreciate it because there's times that iRacing can be very frustrating. So I just appreciate the ability to keep fighting back and never giving up. So Vet to Track, that's what they do. The logo is battling PTSD one lap at a time. And in these races, it's a war, right? You got 40 with this race, it was 37 other contestants, combatants, warriors, right? So when stuff hit the fan, we just realize and remember what we can do, and I appreciate Vet the Track for giving us the opportunity to go out and take the battle of PTSD to the competitors, and look forward to going and doing it at Las Vegas next week.
Alrighty. Well, Travis, thank you so much for dropping by. Congrats on the run tonight, and hope to get to talk to you again here real soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. With that, I'd like to thank my teammates before I go. Ray Lane, Kyle Diaz, Devin Hudgens, B Rich, them guys are all important, especially Ray. Ray puts in a lot of time to making sure that we all are fast. So he's a big reason why you see the 22 and the 26 and the 84 and the 8 up front. So we do appreciate you, Ray. We love you, brother. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Travis, and you have a good night.
You do the same.
That was second place finisher Travis Gilbert, number 22 machine. Bringing it home P2. Started there, finished there. Had a long road to get back up to that spot, though.
Yeah, I mean, the same could be said about Jeremy Burns. When we hit that stage and we had so many cautions there in the first half of this race, it really did cycle and flip-flop this field several different times. No one was guaranteed anything here today. It was very easy to get mid-pack and get caught up in something. And then we had that long green flag run. If you got caught off on that strategy of where to pit and where not to pit, you found yourself deep in this field. And we talk about with Rob Rader having problems, made that little mistake. He never could recover. He was a top 5 car for certain. And a few other drivers that were through this field. Trevor Keith was in the top 10. The 27 of Orlando Jr. held on to it, but it really came down to strategy. and how you adapted throughout this race, because it threw everything at you here. Everything from caution plagued to green flag run, hot slick at the start to cloud cover. It really was a variety of every single thing you could think of in a 1 mile short track race here from Phoenix. We have one more driver to talk to, though. It's your third place finisher, Carter Lenz. We have caught up with the 66. I mean, man, if you could ask for any kind of recovery after what happened to you at COTA, this is what you could ask for right here. This probably negates a little bit of that. It still stings, but I'm sure that this is a little bit easier to digest after what happened last week.
Yeah, no. Last week was the biggest letdown of the whole time I've raced here. I put literally hours of practice day in, day out, especially for COTA, literally right after the championship race when we ended here the season last year at Phoenix. Yeah, it was an extremely low blow to right as soon as we're gridding up the internet, everything just cut out on me that night. But I had to keep my chin up, come into this week and, gun for it and somehow managed to squeeze out a podium tonight. So
Carter, I can feel the sense that you are resisting the urge to swear right now. I could feel it here. I mean, it would be frustrating. I mean, you put all that time into there ever since we went on to week 1. You immediately started working on COTA. You were working on it since last season. You felt that you should have done better there, and you immediately put in the time. We're talking close to probably 1,000 laps there.
Oh, definitely. I was probably underestimating what I was telling everyone, saying I probably had 200 laps. Literally the week building up to it, I probably had 200 laps just in that week, not including since end of November. So no, that week I really like that track. It's one of my favorite road courses anywhere, and I thought I had what it took to beat Jeremy last week, and then I didn't even get to really participate. So really big bummer. And yeah, no, you're right. There are words I'd like to say, but I'm gonna refrain from that. Just gonna keep looking forward from here on out, and gonna try and keep up this pace the rest of the season.
Well, let's put all that aside. We're here at Phoenix tonight. We saw a variety of everything. Your car was outside the top 10 at a couple points in this race. You started in the top 10, flip-flop the field, give you a variety of different people to race around. You find a way in these final stages of the event to get into the top 3.
Yeah, no, it's this track is difficult, especially with the different temperatures starting from the beginning of the race all the way to the end. This track just rips apart tires. It's hard to save them. It's hard to manage them, especially with how cutthroat everyone is here. It's a battle for inches. Yeah, no, falling out of my qualifying spot, I believe was 6th or 7th. Falling back to the middle of the field, it kind of sucks back there, and I understand everyone's frustrations. It's a nightmare. You can't go anywhere. Someone misses an inch on their braking, they're washing up, they're checking up everyone else. And it just feels like you can't go anywhere until the field started to stretch out. Then that's where you can really stretch the legs and figure out where you're better than other people, or try to make up some time. And luckily, cautions kind of fell in line right there at the end of the race. I would think I was going to finish. We went green. I would think I was going to finish a top 10, and everything was kind of in good graces there, and came out here in 3rd.
Congratulations on that top 3 and a great recovery. I know we have some drop weeks. You'll probably have to chalk a couple asterisks up. This is not one of them. So congratulations on that.
Thank
Carter
you.
Lenz, anybody want to shout out here before we let you go? Do you have a copy there, Carter?
Yeah, everything just kind of glitched out there for a second.
All right. Anybody you want to shout out, though, before we let you go?
Oh, shout out Racing Revolutions. Pleasure to be here every week. it's a great league to be a part of. V Speed, you guys always doing a top notch production each week. You guys are awesome. Friends, family, my girlfriend Sarah, all the sponsors. I'm gonna try and keep it short. I got a long week still ahead of me. All the sponsors here that are having names on all the cars. It's great seeing all the different names out there, and yeah, we're just gonna look forward to next week here.
Carter Lenz, third place here tonight in week number 4. Racing Revolution has put on a great show. Appreciate your time, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
And with that, we have concluded our broadcast. It was fun, to say the least. It was a variety of everything. So much going on. We have another week coming up here very shortly.
That we do.
Yes, we do. Well, you know what? I had it next week. How about we get the proper B-roll up here for this? What do you think?
You know, I always think, I mean, visually, if you didn't tell me where we were, I'd also believe this could be Vegas. They have some cactus aesthetic out there. But,
well,
you know, you get the giant banner for Phoenix Raceway, and you think, man, maybe not.
How about that? There's Las Vegas.
There we go.
Join us March 19th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time when we go Green Flag Racing on Wednesday. Chapman Environmental Services Cup Series has put on a fantastic first 4 weeks. We've seen a variety of every racetrack to start this season, and we're going to see a little bit more as we leave this part of the Mojave and move a little bit more north. Again, that will be at 8:30 p.m. here on V-Speed. For everybody that helped put this together, though, my co-commentator, Alex Gagnon, who's done a fantastic job thus far and previous with the season, filling in there. Did a great job, Alex, and I couldn't ask for anybody better up here in the booth with me.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Adam Baker.
It's been a joy to have you up here as well.
Oh, yeah, I'm just here. I just push buttons. That's my cue, though. Adam Baker making this thing look beautiful, though. He does a great job. Morgan Cook, our producer for last season, Logan Threlkeld, Eddie Smith, Christian Hill. This is Bradley Cooper saying so long from Phoenix. We'll see you next time at Racing Revolution here on V-Speed.